Brett, good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you.
So we're standing here in the Belimo booth at AHR 2024. I'm very excited to hear Rick back in Canada will be very excited to see me standing here. We talked a little bit off camera. I'm a big fan of Belimo. We're using a lot of these sensors and different work that we're doing at the Team Eden Experience Lab. Okay. And I wanted to get here so that you could talk to me about some of the sensors and sort of walk through the options. So can you just sort of start on this first set and explain some of the things you guys are doing with gas monitoring and room sensors?
Yep. All right. So at Belimo, we have sensors for duct, pipe, room, outdoor, and gas monitoring applications. So on this side, we have gas monitors and room sensors. Gas monitors are fairly new. Room sensors also within the last couple of years. The interesting about these things, the gas monitors, are that they can be used as a standalone system through CAN bus, or you can tie them into a building automation system through BACnet MSTP.
So the gas monitors, are you guys using that as a measurement tool, or using it as a safety tool? Like, what would be a couple of applications where somebody watching this video could apply this technology?
So right now, in the US, we released vehicle emissions, so CO, NO2, mainly used in enclosed parking garages and like boiler rooms to monitor CO. And then we have CO2, which maybe can be used in other applications where you want to know the amount of CO2 in a room, so maybe like greenhouses or something like that.
So you can use these devices basically as a safety device, either in a mechanical room, parking garages you've identified.
Yeah.
Is there any special certifications these devices carry to allow them to be used in those scenarios?
So yeah, so the CO NO2, we got UL 2075, and then in Canada, ULC S588.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
And then on the room sensor side, I actually have some of these. So Belimo was nice enough to give me a couple of room sensors, again, to test in our lab.
Yeah.
So what we're experimenting with is some interesting chilled beam applications. And it's really important, as you know, that you have good room sensors, good dew point control. Can you walk us through these controls and some of the features?
Yeah, so the room sensors they need to go back to a controller. But we have ones that measure temperature, relative humidity, dew point, and CO2. You can configure them all through your phone. So there's two apps. You've got the display and non-display. They work through this app called the Belimo Assistant app. And then the one without a display, there's also a second app called the Belimo Display app.
Gotcha.
So you got the Belimo Assistant app and the Belimo Display app.
Perfect. So basically you've got the unit that has the face, has the display. There's some applications where that makes a lot of sense where you want to see it.
Yep.
But if you start looking at MERB applications, especially if it's like an office building or common hallways, you really don't want people seeing temperatures. You want to have that accuracy in the collecting of data, but you don't necessarily want to display it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where your apps are so important, having played with them, especially the cloud-based interface. It allows somebody like yourself or me or any somebody who's running a building to monitor what's happening and see what's happening in real time.
Cool.
And what's this one right here? I haven't seen this one before.
So that's a passive temperature sensor, and it just has a set point dial and a button to like manual override. So maybe you could use that for like, I don't know, if you have a light, a dimmer switch or something like that.
And would that also work as a temperature control, or is it more designed as a lighting control?
You can use it for anything. Anything you want to use this dial for. If you're using it for temperature, you can't really see what the temperature would be. So it just depends. It can be used for...
So I want to touch on that really quickly because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Bean. If you're not, definitely get familiar with him.
No.
He is a building science guru. He's very well recognized. Hello, Robert. We did not connect this year. I apologize. He was playing Where is Riddler game as I ran around the show. Okay. One of the things that Robert Bean, as a building science expert, points out all the time is we get so fixated on this number, right? We think that if it doesn't say 74, if it doesn't say 75, we're not comfortable.
Yep.
But the reality is that the air temperature is the least contributing to thermal comfort. And one of the things that Robert has always said is when you're in your car, you have a dial that goes from blue for cold to red to hot.
Okay, yes.
And what I like about this is you literally have the Robert Bean thermostat. So we'll make sure Robert sees this and we'll say, hey, it's not blue and red, but maybe you can get some nail polish and make it whatever colors you want.
Nice.
So let's move on to the other sensors you've got over here.
All right, so these are pipe sensors. So we've got the flow meter here. It's ultrasonic technology to tell you the amount of glycol in your system.
So if we talk about this one a little bit, so you guys have these in two flavors. You have one that is certified as a Measurement Canada certification in Canada, and you have another one that's not certified, but will also work pretty much the same. The difference, my understanding, between the certified and the non-certified is the non-certified, which I believe is this one, will also calculate the percentage of glycol, which is a really, really cool feature.
Yeah.
We're using this because we have it actually hooked up on a PCM battery, and we're able to measure and monitor the charging. This was a really easy setup, a really cool control, and I think as we move more and more towards hydronic heat pumps, meters like this, especially certified meters, can be a real game changer.
Cool, that's awesome. By the, were you talking about the MID version?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Cool.
So we have two versions. We have the certified and the non-certified.
Yep.
My understanding is the non-certified is the one that can actually detect the percentage of glycol.
Yep.
And it's just mainly because I believe, this is me speaking, not Belimo, but I believe the method and how it's being sensed is just that cutting edge that there's a few nerds at the certification side that need to understand that. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I think the MID version is the one with a display.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm not very sure. We have a PM who knows more about this thing.
I can imagine. This is a lot of controls to know every single little detail.
Yep.
I know this one intimately because I've been playing with them now for about 6 months, and I have great things to say about this device.
Actually, all of the guys over there, they know.
All the guys hiding off camera that were too scared to come on camera.
Yeah.
And then what do we have here?
All right, so this is a pipe differential pressure sensor. So if you'll notice, a lot of the sensors that we have, they look the same. Mm-hmm. The housing, it's supposed to be like toolless for the most part.
Gotcha.
You can take off the terminal block, so it's maybe easier to wire. And then the housing, for the most part, is NEMA 4X IP65 rated.
Now, this pressure sensor, is it designed to work with air and fluid?
So no, this is just fluid. This
Just
is
fluid.
pipe.
And is there open-close contacts that can be connected to the fluid pressure? Like, what can we use this for?
So in terms of application, I'm not really sure. I know, so you have your
Inlet and outlet pressure sensors,
inlet and outlet pressure, and then it goes to, I think, like I forget the name of it, but it's like a block that you stick them in.
Gotcha. So we could actually use this as an interface control to actually measure pressure drop within our system to know exactly what is happening with that.
Yep.
Very good.
Just like the other one. So over here we have air, and we'll get to that. But a lot of Belimo's sensors, they're meant to do, like you buy one and you can configure it to different like ranges for temperature, like pressure. So for example, if you go in here and go to settings, you go to menu, so there's different ranges that you can set it to.
Yeah, and so we've just seen it. So this device here is actually sending out a 0 to 10. We can then use that 0 to 10 with a BAS system, and depending on what the system pressure is, we could use that for alerts, we could use it for logging, there's a lot of things we can do. I know you guys have the Belimo cloud-based platform. I haven't had the pleasure of working with these, but Belimo is actually coming to our lab next week, and we're going to get some of these sensors installed, and that'll be a lot of fun. So you're giving me the head start.
Yep. So then this right here is a leak protection or leak detection. So you'd use these maybe in like a drip pan. So they have like 4 metal feet. So when there's water, it'll just flip a switch to tell you you have a leak.
And it looks like you have 2 different models. One is a little bit bigger. Is there a feature difference between them, or is it just physical size?
It's physical size, and then this one has 2. I believe they're single pole double throw relays.
Gotcha.
And then this has 1.
Gotcha. Well, that helps a lot, because if you need to actually be shutting off something, having the ability to do 2 can be beneficial, especially if it's not a residential application.
Yep.
Awesome. And then what do we have behind us here?
All right, so these are duct sensors. We have immersion temperature, averaging temperature, and then this is an air quality, so temperature, humidity, and CO2.
Nice. Obviously, I think everybody watching here sees the value of that, and all of these communicate with the rest of the Belimo system, so you can build a really nice platform for IAQ within the building.
Yep, so with this one, so this is we say it's a duct temperature sensor. To make it a pipe, all you do is stick on a thermal well.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. And then we've got a little bit more on this side that you were just showing me earlier.
Yep. So so in addition to the duct sensors here, we have some more here.
Yep.
This is 2 air pressure switches, differential pressure switches, and then we have a differential pressure sensor.
Nice. I actually believe that some of these are being installed as well, because we're actually doing some lab testing on a multi-unit air handler from Italy, and Rick from your team is going to come out and help us with some of this. It's great to get a quick look at it before he comes in. I will pretend I'm an expert, but I'll probably just call you.
Sure.
And then what do we have here?
So these are outdoor. So the only really difference between outdoor and duct is that the housing is gray.
Right.
So we like to have a lot of orange stuff because we're Belimo.
Yep.
But if you have these installed outdoors, people don't want to see the orange. So
well, and the UV is going to degrade the color anyways, I'm sure. So I'm sure having gray 5 years from now, it's still going to look nice.
Yeah,
you don't quite have those nice, vibrant colors. And what's the purpose of this? This is obviously a much more elaborate setup on that sensor.
Yep. So there's 2 different types of protection against weather. So right here is protection against like rain and stuff like that, and this is more heavy duty, like wind, snow.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, that's great. We definitely appreciate you taking time. Thanks for
Thank
showing
you
us
very
around the
much.
booth. We look
Yeah.
forward to talking to you again soon.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.